biggest points comeback in F1 history and how it happened. After being disqualified from the British Grand Prix 2 months after he won it, James Hunt was 35 points behind Niki Lauda. This came in an era where the winner got 9 points. That's the equivalent of a 97-point gap in today's Formula 1. And Hunt had just 7 races to overcome that. And first up for him was the Nürburgring. Drivers complained that the Nürburgring's Nordschleife was far too dangerous to drive on, but they raced anyway. And on lap 2, it happened. A suspension failure sent Niki Lauda's car flying into the barrier. It burst into flames, rebounded back onto the track, and then was hit by 2 more cars. Harold Ertl, Brett Lunger, Arturo Mazzario, and Guy Edwards all pulled him from the wreck. But due to the sheer size of the circuit, Lauda had to wait 6 minutes to be airlifted to hospital while he fought for his life. I mean, just look at the wreck. Once the race restarted, James Hunt won. Lauda's lead fell to 26 points and he went on to miss the next 2 races. In that time, James Hunt finished 4th in Austria and won the next race at Zandvoort. But then just 6 weeks after his near fatal crash, Niki Lauda made a shock return at Ferrari's home Monza. Ferrari was so caught off guard that they had to run 3 cars that weekend. On paper, the gap was now just 2 points, but his British Grand Prix victory was still under review, and Monza was chaos. Hunt started from the back due to fuel irregularities, spun out, crashed, was out of the race. Lauda, the absolute legend, qualified 5th, finished 4th. What a legendary return. After Monza, Hunt was hit with a massive gut punch. Ferrari's appeal of his Silverstone victory was successful, and Hunt was disqualified. He entered Monza just 2 points behind Lauda, and like I said, in an era where the winner gets 9 points, and Lauda didn't even win the race, he increased his gap to 17 points. 3 races to go, game on. James Hunt didn't panic though. Stuck it on pole in Canada, had a trademark bad start, and won the race anyway. Lauda could only manage 8th in Canada. No points for that, and the gap was down to 8. Before his injury, Lauda had finished on the podium in every single race he'd finished, but 2 races into his comeback, he was yet to be back on the podium. Next up was the US Grand Prix. There was another pole for Hunt and another bad start. I think the ladies' love for him is not the only thing he has in common with Lando Norris. Scheckter took the lead, but 14 laps away from the finish, Hunt overtook him and didn't look back. Miraculously, Lauda finished on the podium with them. With Lauda's 3rd place finish, the gap between the two was now just 3 points. And like we've seen numerous times over the years in Formula 1, we headed to Japan for a title decider. The rain was torrential. Drivers were complaining. It was not safe to drive, but they raced anyway, and Hunt stormed into the lead from the start. He got the good start when it mattered, and 2 laps in, Niki Lauda boxed to retire, saying the conditions were far too dangerous. My life's far more important than a world championship, he said. And James Hunt now needed to just finish 3rd to win the championship, and he was leading comfortably until he had a tyre failure. Hunt had already dropped back to 3rd before his puncture, but the pit stop saw him drop down to 5th, and any hopes of a title looked gone until, with 2 laps to go, James Hunt made 2 overtakes. He snatched back 3rd place and the world championship by a single point from a 35-point deficit to statistically the biggest comeback in Formula 1 history. But could we see that feat bested this season? I'll leave that for you guys to discuss in the comments.